Captain Jake Morrison stood in the control room of Sentinel Prime, looking out at the stars. The space station was huge, floating above Earth like a metal city. Jake had been in charge of this place for 3 years now. His job was to watch for danger coming from space. The year was 2087. Humans now lived on Mars and the Moon. They had built mining stations on rocks floating in space. Earth had become the center of a small empire among the stars. But today felt different. "Captain, we have something strange," said Lieutenant Sam Carter. He was sitting at his desk, looking at his computer screen with worry. "There are energy readings coming from the edge of our solar system." Jake walked over to Sam's desk. The screen showed lines and numbers that meant something was out there. Something big. How big? Jake asked. "Very big, sir. Bigger than any ship we have ever built." Jake felt his heart beat faster. In all his years in space, he had never seen an alien ship. No human had. They always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Today, they might get their answer. "Send a message to Admiral Blake on Earth," Jake said. "Tell him we might have visitors." On the Moon, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez was working in her lab when her phone rang. She was a scientist who studied old things. Very old things. Some of the rocks and tools she looked at were thousands of years old. "Lisa, we need you to come to Earth right now," said the voice on the phone. It was Admiral Henry Blake, the head of Earth's space defense. "What's wrong?" Lisa asked. "We might have aliens." Real aliens. And they seemed to know something about Earth's past. Lisa dropped the rock she was holding. She had spent her whole life studying the past. Now the past might be coming to visit Dot back on Sentinel Prime. The alien ship was getting closer. Jake could see it now through the big windows. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. The ship looked like it was made of crystal and metal mixed together. It moved without making any sound they could hear. "Try to talk to them," Jake told Sam. Sam pressed buttons on his desk. "Unknown ship. This is Sentinel Prime of the Terran Defense Grid. Please identify yourself and state your purpose." Nothing happened for a long time. Then the alien ship sent back a message. But it was not in English or any language they knew. "Can you understand any of it?" Jake asked. Sam shook his head. "It sounds old, really old. Like the way people might have talked thousands of years ago." The alien ship kept coming closer to Earth. More human ships started to move toward it. Everyone was ready for a fight, but no one wanted to start one. Then the alien ship spoke again. This time, they could understand some of the words. "This is Zeftel of the Kethmori. We have returned to collect what belongs to us." Jake felt cold. "Returned? You mean you've been here before?" "Long ago, when your kind was young and simple. We left supplies and equipment. Now we have come back for them." Admiral Blake's voice came through the radio from Earth. "Captain Morrison, do not let them land without permission. We don't know what they want, but Zeftal heard this." "Permission?" "This world was our stopping place when your ancestors lived in caves. We need no permission to take what is ours." Jake looked at his crew. They were all scared, but ready to fight. Humans had worked hard to build their civilization. They would not let anyone take it away. "Sir," said Sam, "the alien ship is moving toward Earth. It's heading for Africa." On her way to Earth, Lisa thought about what the aliens had said. They claimed to have been on Earth long ago. But she had studied the past for many years. There was no proof that aliens had ever visited Earth. Or was there? She remembered some strange things she had found. Tools that seemed too advanced for their time. Stories passed down through generations about visitors from the sky. Maybe those stories were real. The alien ship landed in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It was far from any city, but close to some old ruins that scientists had just started to study. Jake and his team flew down to Earth in a small ship. They met with Admiral Blake and Dr. Lisa Rodriguez near the landing site. What do they really want? Lisa asked. They say they left equipment here 30,000 years ago, Admiral Blake said. They want it back. Lisa's eyes grew wide. 30,000 years ago? That's when early humans were just learning to make fire and hunt animals. The alien ship was huge up close. It looked like a mountain made of smooth, shining metal. Then a door opened, and 3 tall figures walked out. The aliens looked almost human, but not quite. They were taller and thinner. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes were silver. They wore clothes that seemed to be made of light. Zeftal stepped forward. He looked at the humans like they were children who had grown up when he wasn't looking. You have changed much, he said. When we left, your kind could barely make tools. Now you fly among the stars. Interesting. We've learned a lot in 30,000 years, Admiral Blake said. Yes, but you are still the same inside. Still the creatures we found so long ago. Zeftal pointed toward the desert. Our equipment is buried there. We will take it and leave. Wait, Lisa said. If you were really here 30,000 years ago, that changes everything we know about human history. We need to study this. We need to understand. Zeftal looked at her with something that might have been amusement. There is nothing for you to understand. You are primitives who learned to use metal and electricity. We are your superiors in every way. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. We're not primitives anymore. We've built cities on other worlds. We've learned to travel between the stars. Children. Playing with toys, Zeftal said. Stand aside. We have work to do. Admiral Blake spoke into his radio. All units, be ready. If they try to take anything by force, we will stop them. Zeftal heard this and smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You would fight us? That would be unwise. Our ship alone could destroy all your defenses. Maybe, Jake said. But we won't just give up without a fight. The tension was thick in the air. Humans and aliens stared at each other across the desert sand. In the distance, more human ships were arriving. The alien ship began to glow brighter. No one knew what would happen next. But everyone knew that this moment would change everything. For both humans and aliens forever. The next morning, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez walked across the hot desert sand. Behind her, a team of human workers carried digging tools and scanning equipment. In front of her, Zeftal and 2 other aliens waited near a spot that looked like empty. Desert to human eyes. Your equipment is buried here? Lisa asked, looking around at the sand and rocks. Deep below, Zeftal said. Your primitive tools will take days to reach it. We could uncover it in minutes with our technology. But you want us to help dig it up? Captain Jake Morrison asked. He had stayed with the group to make sure the aliens didn't try anything dangerous. We want to see how much you have truly learned, Zeftal replied. And we are curious about what your kind has built on this world. Professor Ben Walsh, an old man who knew more about ancient history than almost anyone else, knelt down and picked up a handful of sand. I've studied this area before. There are traces of very old settlements here, much older than we expected. Lisa set up her scanning machine. It used sound waves to see underground without digging. What she saw on her screen made her gasp. There's a structure down there, she said. It's huge. And it's definitely not natural. Jake looked at the screen. How deep? About 50 feet down. And it's made of some kind of crystal material. The aliens watched as the humans began to dig. They used machines to move the sand quickly, but it was still hard work under the hot sun. After several hours, they hit something solid. We found it, shouted one of the workers. Lisa climbed down into the hole they had dug. At the bottom was a smooth, clear wall that looked like it was made of diamond. But when she touched it, it felt warm and seemed to glow slightly. "This is incredible," she whispered. "Ben, you need to see this." Professor Walsh climbed down beside her. He had seen many old buildings and artifacts, but nothing like this. "How old did you say this was?" he asked Zeftel. "We built it 30,000 of your years ago," the alien replied. "It was meant to be a temporary outpost." As they dug more, they found an entrance. The door was sealed, but when Zeftal touched it, it opened with a soft sound. Cool air flowed out from inside. "The power source is still working after all this time?" Jake asked, amazed. "Our technology is built to last," Zeftal said with pride. Inside the underground structure, Lisa felt like she was walking through a dream. The walls glowed with soft light. Strange symbols covered every surface. In the center of the main room stood machines that hummed quietly. "What were you doing here?" Lisa asked. "Studying your ancestors," Zeftal said. "We wanted to understand how life developed on this world. Your early humans were interesting to us." Professor Walsh found something that made him call out in excitement. "Lisa, come look at this." On one wall were pictures carved into the crystal. They showed tall figures working alongside shorter ones. The shorter figures looked like early humans, but they were using tools that seemed too advanced for their time. "You worked with our ancestors?" Lisa asked. "We taught them some things," Zeftal admitted. "Basic tool making, simple farming. They were quick learners." Jake studied the pictures more carefully. "This changes everything we know about human development." "Not really," Zeftal said. "We only gave them small hints. What they became was their own doing." Lisa moved deeper into the structure. In another room, she found something that made her heart race. There were samples of human DNA stored in crystal containers. But these samples were different from modern human DNA. "You were doing experiments on our ancestors?" she asked, her voice full of anger. "Not experiments," Zeftal said quickly. "We were trying to help them. Your early ancestors were weak and often died young. We made small changes to help them survive better." Professor Walsh looked up from some symbols he was studying. "According to these records, you changed human intelligence too, only slightly. We gave them better memories and the ability to solve problems faster. Without these changes, your species would have died out long ago." Jake felt uncomfortable. "So humans aren't really natural? We're artificial?" "All evolution is natural," Zeftal said. "We simply guided it in a helpful direction." Lisa found more machines deeper in the structure. These were clearly more advanced than anything humans had built. One machine seemed to be studying the DNA samples. Another looked like it could create new life forms. "Why did you leave all this behind?" she asked. Zeftal was quiet for a moment. "There was a war. Our people were called back to fight. We thought we would return quickly, but the war lasted much longer than expected." "How long?" Jake asked. "Several thousand years. When it ended, most of our people thought this outpost had been destroyed. Your world was forgotten." Professor Walsh had been taking pictures of the symbols on the walls. "I can read some of these," he said. "They're similar to very old human languages. But there are other symbols, too. These look like star maps." Lisa looked at what he had found. "These show the locations of other worlds, other places your people visited. Yes, we have outposts throughout this part of the galaxy." Jake felt a chill. "How many of your people are there?" "Many, more than the population of your entire world." The humans looked at each other with worry. If the aliens had that many people, and if they had technology this advanced, what chance would humans have if they wanted to fight? Lisa tried to focus on the science. "This machine here, what does it do?" Zeftal looked uncomfortable. It maintains the genetic modifications we made to your ancestors. What do you mean, maintains? The changes we made were designed to continue through generations. This machine monitors your species and makes small adjustments when needed. Jake grabbed Zeftal's arm. You mean you've been controlling human evolution this whole time? Not controlling, guiding, protecting. Without this machine, the modifications would have faded away long ago. Lisa felt sick. So everything humans have accomplished, all our progress, it's because of your machine? No, Zeftal said firmly. The machine only maintained the basic improvements we made. Your intelligence, your creativity, your determination, those grew on their own. We are actually quite surprised by how much you have accomplished. Professor. Walsh found another room filled with weapons. They were clearly alien in design, but some of them looked like they had been modified by human hands. Your expedition team didn't just disappear, did they? He asked. Zeftal looked sad. Some of them chose to stay. They were fascinated by your ancestors and wanted to continue studying them up close. They lived among our ancestors? Lisa asked. Yes, and some of them had children with your people. The room went silent. Jake, Lisa, and Professor Walsh stared at the alien. You mean some humans today have alien ancestry? Lisa whispered. A small percentage, yes. The genetic markers would be very faint after so many generations, but they would still be there. Lisa thought about all the DNA samples she had studied over the years. There had been some humans with unusual genetic patterns that she couldn't explain. Now she wondered if those people might be descendants of the ancient alien expedition. Why? Are you telling us all this? Jake asked. Because you deserve to know the truth. And because we need to decide what happens next. What do you mean? Zeftal looked out toward where his ship waited on the surface. My people sent me here to recover our equipment and return home. But after seeing what humanity has become, I think they need to know about your progress. Is that good or bad? For us? Jake asked. I do not know, Zeftal admitted. My people still think of humans as the primitive creatures we left behind. They may not be pleased to learn that you have become a spacefaring civilization. Lisa felt fear growing in her stomach. What will they do when they find out? Before Zeftal could answer, his ship on the surface began to glow brighter. Strange. Sounds came from his communication device. What's happening? Jake demanded. Zeftal listened to the message, and his face changed. A message from my fleet. They are concerned that I have been gone too long without reporting. Your fleet? Professor. Walsh asked. I was not sent alone. There are others coming behind me. Many others. Jake grabbed his radio. Admiral Blake, we have a problem. The aliens have a fleet coming. Zeftal looked at the humans with something that might have been regret. I tried to delay them, but they will arrive soon. And when they see what humanity has become, they may decide that you have grown too dangerous to be allowed to continue. The underground structure suddenly felt like a tomb. The humans realized they might have discovered the key to their own history, but they might not live long enough to share it with the world. Deep in the alien structure, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez found a room that had been sealed off from the others. The door was different from the rest, thicker and covered with warning symbols that even Zeftal seemed nervous about. What's in there? She asked. The stasis chamber, Zeftal replied quietly. One of our expedition members chose to remain behind in deep sleep until our return. Captain Jake Morrison studied the door. You mean there's been a living alien on Earth for 30,000 years? Yes, Elder Kethtal was the leader of our original expedition. He volunteered to stay behind to watch over the equipment and the genetic modifications we made to your ancestors. Professor Ben Walsh looked worried. Is it safe to wake him up? Safe for you, yes. but he may not be pleased with what he finds. Lisa's curiosity was stronger than her fear. We need to wake him up. He might have answers about human history that we can't get anywhere else. Zeftal placed his hand on the door, and it slowly opened. Inside was a chamber filled with soft blue light. In the center stood a crystal pod, and inside the pod was a figure that looked like Zeftal, but older and more dignified. "How do we wake him?" Jake asked. "The chamber will sense that. We are here. It will wake him automatically." As they watched, the blue light grew brighter. The figure inside the pod began to move. Slowly, the crystal opened like a flower, and Elder Kethtal stepped out. He was taller than Zeftal, and his silver eyes seemed to see everything at once. When he looked at the humans, his expression changed from confusion to amazement. "Zeftal," he said in a voice that sounded like wind through trees, "these cannot be the primitive creatures we studied. What has happened to them?" "They have evolved, Elder, far beyond what we expected." Elder Kethtal walked closer to Lisa. "You create tools from metal and stone. You have learned to harness electricity. You even travel among the stars now." "That's right," Lisa said, trying not to show her fear. "Humans have built a civilization that spans multiple worlds." "Impossible," Elder Kethtal whispered. "When I entered stasis, your kind had barely learned to make fire." Jake stepped forward. "A lot can happen in 30,000 years." Elder Kethtal examined each human carefully. "The genetic modifications we made have grown stronger, not weaker. Your intelligence, your problem-solving abilities, your physical endurance, all enhanced beyond our original design. What exactly did you do to our ancestors?" Professor Walsh asked. Elder Kethtal moved to one of the machines in the chamber. Images appeared in the air, showing early humans living in caves and struggling to survive. "Your ancestors were dying." "Out," he explained. "Ice ages, diseases, predators, everything seemed designed to destroy them. We made small changes to their genetic structure to help them survive." "What kind of changes?" Lisa asked. "Better immune systems to fight disease. Improved brain structure for faster learning. Enhanced physical coordination. Most importantly, we gave them something that no other species on your world possessed." "What?" "The ability to adapt quickly to new situations. What you call creativity and innovation." Jake felt a mix of pride and confusion. "So everything humans have accomplished is because of your modifications?" "No," Elder Kethtal said firmly. "We only provided the foundation. What your species built upon that foundation is entirely your own achievement. We expected you to develop better hunting skills and maybe simple agriculture. We never imagined you would reach the stars." The elder moved to another machine that showed images of the modern world cities, spaceships, computers, satellites orbiting Earth. "This is beyond anything we thought possible," he said with wonder in his voice. "Why?" Lisa asked. "Didn't you think we were smart enough?" Intelligence was never the question. We have seen many intelligent species destroy themselves through war, pollution, or simple lack of cooperation. But humans seem to have found a way to work together despite your differences. Zeftal looked uncomfortable. "Elder, there is something else you should know. Our people are coming. A fleet is on its way to Earth." Elder Kethtal turned sharply. "Why?" "They sent me to recover the equipment and return home. But when I did not report back quickly enough, they became concerned." "How many ships?" "Enough to claim this world if they choose to do so." Elder Kethtal was quiet for a long moment. "They do not know what humanity has become." "No, and I fear they may see humans as a threat rather than an achievement." Meanwhile, on the surface, Commander Alex Turner was setting up defensive positions around the alien landing site. He was in charge of Earth's most elite military unit, and his job was to protect the scientists working below ground, not his engineer. Zara Okafor was studying pieces of alien technology that had been brought up from the underground structure. What? She found made her call Commander Turner over urgently. "Sir, you need to see this," she said, holding up a small crystal device. "What is it?" "Some kind of power source. But it's not just advanced, it's dying." "What do you mean?" "The energy readings are unstable. This technology is breaking down. I think their whole civilization might be in trouble." Commander Turner thought about this. "You mean they might not be here just to collect old equipment? I think they might be looking for a new home." Back underground, Elder Kethtal was showing the humans more images from the past. They saw his original expedition working alongside early humans, teaching them to make better tools and grow food more efficiently. "Some of my people chose to stay among your ancestors permanently," he said. "They were fascinated by human potential and wanted to see it develop. What happened to them?" Lisa asked. "They had children with your ancestors. Their genetic traits mixed with human DNA and spread through the population." Professor Walsh looked excited. "That would explain some of the genetic mysteries we've found in modern humans. Some people have DNA markers that don't match any known human populations." "Yes, about 1 in every 1,000 humans today carry significant genetic markers from my people." Lisa felt a strange tingling sensation. How would we know if someone had these markers? Enhanced intuition. Ability to understand complex systems. Quickly, sometimes limited telepathic abilities. Lisa looked at Jake and Professor Walsh. She had always been unusually good at understanding ancient artifacts and complex problems. She could often sense things about archaeological sites that other scientists missed. "I think I might be one of them," she said quietly. Elder Kethtal studied her carefully. "Yes, the markers are strongly new. That is probably why you were drawn to study the past." Jake felt a chill. If some humans have alien ancestry, what does that mean for the rest of us? It means that humanity is already a hybrid species. The division between human and Kethmori is not as clear as either species believes. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the structure. Zeftal grabbed his communication device and listened to an urgent message. "What is it?" Jake demanded. "Our fleet has arrived at the edge of your solar system. They are demanding an immediate report on the situation here." Elder Kethtal moved to a large machine in the center of the chamber. "I must speak with them directly." "Elder, they may not understand. They will understand when I show them what humanity has achieved." The machine came to life, projecting a 3-dimensional image of space above their heads. In the image, they could see dozens of alien ships approaching Earth. The ships were massive, much larger than anything humans had built. "Fleet Commander Vashtai," Elder Kethtal spoke into the machine. "This is Elder Kethtal reporting from the surface." A harsh voice replied from the machine. "Elder, we thought you were dead. Report the status of the primitive settlement." "The settlement is no longer primitive, Commander. The humans have developed a sophisticated civilization." There was a long pause. "Impossible. Our records show they were barely tool users when you entered stasis." "Your records are 30,000 years old. Much has changed." Another voice joined the conversation, cold and angry. "Elder, if these creatures have developed advanced technology, they could pose a threat to our people." "They are not a threat. They are an achievement. That remains to be seen. We are coming to investigate. Prepare the humans for evaluation." The communication ended, and the room fell silent. "What kind of evaluation?" Jake asked. Elder Kethtal looked sad. "They will test humanity's right to continue existing as an independent species. And if we fail, then they will decide that the genetic modifications we made were a mistake that needs to be corrected. Lisa felt ice in her veins. Corrected? How? By removing the modifications from your DNA. Without them, humanity would revert to its original primitive state within a few generations. Jake grabbed his radio. Admiral Blake, we have a big problem. The alien fleet isn't just here to collect equipment. They're here to judge whether humanity deserves to exist. Admiral Henry Blake stood in the command center on Earth, watching dozens of alien ships enter the solar system. Each ship was the size of a small city, and their weapons could probably destroy all human defenses within hours. How many people? Can we evacuate? He asked his staff. Not enough, replied his second-in-command. Even if we used every transport ship we have, we could only move a few million people off Earth. Blake knew that Earth had over 8 billion people. There was no way to save everyone if the aliens decided to attack Dot in space. Captain Jake Morrison was racing back to his station aboard Sentinel Prime. He had left the underground alien structure as soon as Elder Kethtal told them about the coming evaluation. Sam, what's the status of our defenses? Jake asked as soon as he reached the control room. Lieutenant Sam Carter looked grim. We have every ship in the Terran defense grid ready for battle, but sir, their ships are so much bigger than ours. Size isn't everything. We've got something they don't expect. What's that? We fight dirty. On Earth, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez was still in the alien structure with Elder Kethtel and Professor Ben Walsh. She was studying the genetic modification machines, trying to understand how they worked. There has to be something we can use, she said. To Elder Kethtel. Some weakness in their technology or their plans. The modifications we made to your ancestors included safety measures, the Elder replied. We built them in case the modifications ever became dangerous to your species. What kind of safety measures? Genetic codes that could shut down our technology if activated by someone with the right DNA markers. Lisa felt her heart race. Someone like me? Possibly. But using the codes would be extremely dangerous. The process might kill you. Professor Walsh looked up from some symbols he was studying. What would happen if the codes were activated? All Kethmori technology within range would stop working. Ships, weapons, life support systems, everything. How big a range? Planetary scale? Possibly larger. Lisa realized what this meant. I could disable their entire fleet? In theory, yes. But the genetic integration required might destroy your human DNA in the process. Meanwhile, Commander Alex, Turner was preparing Earth's ground defenses. His engineer, Zara Okafor, had been working non-stop to modify human weapons using alien technology they had found. How are the modifications coming? Turner asked. Better than expected, Zara replied. Their technology is advanced, but it follows logical principles. I've managed to upgrade our energy weapons significantly. Will it be enough? Against one or two of their ships, maybe. Against their whole fleet? She shook her head. Above Earth, the alien fleet took positions around the planet. Fleet Commander Vashtai sent a message to all human leaders. Humans of Earth, his voice boomed from every radio and television on the planet. You will be evaluated to determine if you are worthy to continue your current path of development. Gather your leaders for testing. Admiral Blake responded immediately. We are ready to talk, but we will not submit to any tests that might harm our people. You have no choice in this matter. Your species was created by us. We have the right to judge what you have become. In her fighter ship orbiting Earth, pilot Kate Sullivan listened to the alien message with anger. She was one of humanity's best pilots, and she had never backed down from a fight. Admiral, she said over the radio, give me permission to show these aliens what human pilots can do. Negative, Kate. We're not starting a war if we can avoid it. Sir, I don't think we can avoid it. She was right. Even as Admiral Blake tried to negotiate, alien fighters began launching from the big ships. They were clearly preparing for battle, not just evaluation. Back in the underground structure, Elder Kethtel was trying to contact the fleet commander directly. Vashti, these humans have achieved something remarkable. Their civilization is based on cooperation and innovation. They are still primitives with stolen technology, Vashti replied coldly. The genetic modifications were never meant to create a competing species. They are not competing with us. They could be our partners. Partners? They are barely evolved. Animals. We will correct the mistake our ancestors made. Lisa had been listening to this conversation while studying the genetic modification machines. How long do we have? She asked Elder Kethtel. Not long. Vashti is not known for patience. Then I need to try activating the safety codes now. Lisa, no, Jake said over the radio from his space station. There has to be another way. There isn't time to find another way. Above them, the first shots of the battle were fired. Kate Sullivan had ignored Admiral Blake's orders and launched an attack run on one of the alien ships. Her small fighter dodged massive energy beams while firing back with upgraded human weapons. Kate returned to base immediately. Admiral Blake ordered, "Sorry, sir. But if we're going to fight, we might as well fight smart." Kate's attack was like a mosquito biting a giant, but it proved something important. The alien ships were powerful, but slow to respond to unexpected tactics. Human fighters were smaller and faster, able to move in ways the aliens didn't expect. Commander Turner saw this from the ground. All fighter squadrons, launch immediately. Use hit-and-run tactics. Don't try to destroy their ships. Just keep them confused. Dozens of human fighters swarmed toward the alien fleet. They moved in unpredictable patterns, striking quickly and then disappearing before the aliens could target them effectively. On Sentinel Prime, Jake realized that the human fighters were buying them time. Sam, target their communication arrays. If we can disrupt their coordination, our fighters will have a better chance. Targeting now, sir. The space station's main weapons fired at the alien command ship. The shot didn't destroy the ship, but it damaged their ability to communicate with the rest of the fleet. Fleet Commander Vashti was furious. These primitives dare to attack us? Begin planetary bombardment immediately. But the alien fleet was having trouble coordinating their attack. Human fighters were everywhere, forcing the big ships to focus on defense instead of offense. And every time they tried to target human cities, the fighters would attack their weapon systems. In the underground structure, Lisa had connected herself to the genetic modification machine. The process was painful. She could feel alien DNA codes mixing with her human genetics. The integration is working, Elder Kethtal said, monitoring the machine. But your human DNA is fighting the process. How much longer? Lisa gasped, unknown. Your genetics are more complex than we expected. Professor Walsh was watching the battle on the surface through the structure's monitoring systems. Lisa, the human fighters are holding them off for now, but they can't last much longer. Lisa gritted her teeth and forced herself to accept more of the alien genetic integration. She could feel her human nature being overwhelmed by alien code. Patterns, but she also felt new abilities awakening in her mind. Suddenly, she could sense every piece of Kethmori technology within range. The alien ships, their weapons, their life support systems, she could feel them all like parts of her own body. I can do it, she whispered. I can shut them all down. Lisa, don't, Jake pleaded over the radio. We'll find another way. There is no other way. Above Earth, Kate Sullivan was leading a desperate attack on the alien flagship. Her fighter had been damaged, but she kept flying, trying to give Lisa more time. All fighters, concentrate on the big ship, she ordered. Keep them busy. The human fighters swarmed around the flagship like angry bees. They couldn't destroy it, but they were preventing it from targeting Earth cities. Fleet Commander Vashtai had had enough. Ignore the fighters. Begin destroying human population centers. Start with their largest cities. The alien weapons began charging up for planetary bombardment. In minutes, millions of humans would die. In the underground structure, Lisa made her choice. She activated the genetic safety codes. The effect was immediate and devastating. Every alien ship in the fleet suddenly went dark. Their engines stopped, their weapons powered down, their life support systems failed, but the process was killing Lisa. Her human DNA was being rewritten at the cellular level, and her body couldn't handle the changes. Lisa! Jake shouted over the radio as he watched the alien ships go dark around Earth. In the underground structure, Lisa collapsed beside the genetic modification machine. Her skin was pale, and strange silver patterns were appearing along her arms and face. What's happening to her? Professor Walsh asked Elder Kethtal. The integration is too complete. She is becoming more Kethmori than human. Above them, the battle had stopped. Human fighters flew around the dead alien ships, amazed that their enemy had suddenly been defeated. But Admiral Blake knew something was wrong. Jake, what happened up there? He asked over the radio. All the alien ships just shut down at once. It had to be Lisa. In space, Fleet Commander Vashtai was trapped on his powerless flagship. Emergency life support was the only system still working, and it wouldn't last long. How is this possible? He demanded of his crew. Our technology cannot be defeated by primitives. But Elder Kethtal was broadcasting to the fleet from the underground structure. Commander, the humans have activated genetic safety codes that we built into our technology 30,000 years ago. Impossible. Only a pure-blood Kethmori could activate those codes. The human who activated them carries enough of our genetic markers to coup. 3 days after the battle, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez stood in the command center of the alien flagship. She looked human, but silver lines now ran through her hair, and her eyes glowed softly in the dark. The genetic integration had changed her in ways that no one fully understood yet. Fleet Commander Vashtai watched her with a mixture of fear and respect. You should not be able to control our systems so easily. The genetic modifications your ancestors made to humans were more complete than you realized, Lisa replied. We were always meant to be partners, not servants. Captain Jake Morrison had joined them on the alien ship, along with Admiral Henry Blake and Elder Kethtal. They were trying to work out a peace agreement that would prevent future conflicts. Your people need a new home, Admiral Blake said to Vashtai. Our people need to feel safe. There has to be a way to accomplish both. My government will not accept humans as equals, Vashtai replied. We have been the dominant species in this region of space for thousands of years. Then maybe it's time for that to change, Jake said. Lisa moved to one of the ship's control panels. With a thought, she activated a communication system that connected to the entire Kethmori fleet. Attention all Kethmori vessels, she said. This is Dr. Lisa Rodriguez. I want to show you something about humanity that your leaders may not understand. Images began appearing on screens throughout the fleet. They showed human cities where millions of people lived and worked together peacefully. They showed human colonies on Mars where different nations had cooperated to build a new world. They showed human rescue ships that had spent the last 3 days delivering food and medical supplies to the powerless Kethmori vessels your ancestors helped create. U.S., Lisa continued. But we grew beyond what they imagined because we learned to work together despite our differences. We learned to help strangers, even former enemies. On ships throughout the fleet, Kethmori crew members watched these images with amazement. Many had never seen cooperation on such a scale, but the most important audience was on the Kethmori. Homeworld billions of miles away. Elder Kethtal had helped Lisa establish a communication link that would carry their message across space. Council of Elders, Lisa said, addressing the Kethmori government directly. Your expedition to Earth was not a failure. It was the beginning of something new. The response came several hours later, when light-speed communication finally reached them from the Kethmori homeworld. Human creature, said a cold voice that belonged to the High Elder of the Kethmori Council. You have stolen our technology and corrupted our expedition. You will return our people and submit to judgment. Lisa felt anger rise in her chest, but she controlled it. I have not stolen anything. I am using abilities that your own ancestors gave to my species, and I am offering you something your people have been searching for. A solution to your planetary crisis. What solution? Partnership. Humans have learned to live in harsh environments. We have colonies on worlds that would kill most species. We could help your people establish new colonies while we work together to save your home world. There was a long silence. Then the High Elder spoke again. Why would you help us after we threatened your world? Because that's what humans do, Lisa replied. We help people who need help. Professor Ben Walsh, who had been documenting everything from the underground alien structure, added his voice to the conversation. Your genetic modifications gave humans enhanced empathy, along with enhanced intelligence. We cannot ignore suffering, even in our enemies. On Earth, Commander Alex Turner was coordinating the relief efforts to the alien ships. His engineer, Zara Okafor, had figured out how to modify human food supplies so they would be safe for Kethmori to eat. This is incredible, Zara said, as she watched human and alien engineers working together to repair damaged systems. There, technology and our innovation, we could accomplish amazing things together. Kate Sullivan was piloting supply runs between Earth and the alien ships. She had been one of the first humans to fight the aliens, but now she was one of the first to help them. It's strange, she told Jake over the radio. 3 days ago, I was trying to shoot them down. Now I'm delivering medicine to their sick crew members. Do you regret the fighting? Jake asked. No, they needed to learn that humans wouldn't be pushed around, but I'm glad we found a better way to end it. Back on the alien flagship, Lisa was experiencing something that no human had ever experienced before. The genetic integration had given her the ability to sense the thoughts and emotions of both humans and Kethmori. She could feel the fear and hope on both sides. Elder Kethtal, she said, I can sense that some of your people are still planning to fight. Yes, there are. Factions that believe humans are too dangerous to be allowed to continue developing. And I can sense that some humans think we should destroy the alien fleet while we have the chance. Admiral Blake looked worried. What can we do about that? Lisa moved to the center of the ship's bridge and placed her hands on a large crystal. That seemed to be the ship's main computer core. I'm going to try something that's never been done before, she said. I'm going to create a direct link between human and Kethmori minds. Is that safe? Jake asked. Probably not. But it might be the only way to create real understanding between our species. Lisa concentrated, and suddenly everyone on the ship, human and Kethmori alike, could feel each other's thoughts and emotions. Jake experienced Vashti's memories of watching his home world slowly die. Vashti felt Jake's determination to protect his family and friends. The effect spread beyond the ship. Across space, humans and Kethmori began to understand each other in ways that words could never accomplish. They felt each other's fears, hopes, and dreams. On the Kethmori homeworld, the High Elder experienced human compassion for the first time. He felt what it was like to risk your life to save a stranger. He understood why humans had offered help to their former enemies. This is unprecedented, he said, his voice filled with wonder. Your species feels genuine empathy for other beings. This level of emotional development should have taken millions of years to evolve. Your ancestors' genetic modifications accelerated our emotional development along with our intellectual growth. Lisa explained, we became capable of both great violence and great compassion. The mind link lasted only a few minutes, but it changed everything. When it ended, both species understood that they were not so different after all. Proposal, said the High Elder after a long pause. Joint colonization projects. Humans and Keth Mori working together to establish new worlds. Accepted, Admiral Blake replied immediately. Shared technology development. Human innovation combined with Keth Mori knowledge. Agreed. And gradual integration of our species. Not through genetic modification, but through cooperation and mutual respect. Lisa smiled. That's something both species can work toward. 6 months later, Lisa stood on the observation deck of a new type of ship, one built using both human and Keth Mori technology. Jake was beside her, along with Zara Okafor and several Keth Mori engineers. The first joint colony ship, Zara said proudly, ready to establish humanity's first settlement in another star system. Our first settlement, corrected one of the Keth Mori engineers. We are partners now. Lisa watched Earth growing smaller in the distance. The genetic changes had stabilized, leaving her as something new, not quite human, not quite Keth Mori, but a bridge between both species. Any regrets? Jake asked her. None. This is what I was meant to become. Elder Keth Tal joined them at the observation window. He had chosen to remain with the joint expedition rather than return to the Keth Mori homeworld. Your species taught us something important, he said to the humans. We thought advanced civilization meant conquering others. But you showed us that true advancement means lifting others up with you. Professor Walsh was documenting the historic moment. Humanity's first step into the larger galaxy, he said. Not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying humans and Keth Mori toward a new world where they would build something that neither species could have created alone. Behind them, Earth continued its orbit around the sun. But now it was not just the home of humanity. It was the birthplace of a new kind of civilization, one based on cooperation rather than conquest. In the years that followed, human Keth Mori colonies would spread across the galaxy. They would face challenges and dangers that neither species could have handled alone. But together, they would overcome every obstacle. And at the center of it all was Lisa Rodriguez, no longer entirely human, but carrying the best qualities of both species. She had given up her original nature to save her people, but in doing so, she had gained something even more valuable, the ability to help. Two very different species become one people among the stars. The test of humanity was over. Both species had passed.